by John DeSando. Listen to the shows and read reviews online at wcbe.org.
I'm John DeSando.
And I'm Linda Baas McClelland.
And this is It's Movie Time.
Indeed, yes.
All right, Linny, I count on you to give me something uplifting. What do you have this week?
We're digging for something uplifting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's The Dig that we saw, and if people are Anglophiles, they should tune into Netflix and watch it.
Hey, look it, if you like Downton Abbey, or my favorite, the Guernsey County,
Oh, yeah.
last year,
Oh, yes.
which also starred, I think Lily James was in that. And she was the young girl in this one, in The Dig.
Right, yeah.
But this is pure Brit. And Netflix is getting to have a bevy of these British kind of masterpiece theater knockoffs, filled with beautiful photography.
Oh, yeah, that was one of the highlights of the movie for me. It takes place in Suffolk, is that how you say it?
Yep, England.
And in England, the east coast of England.
Okay.
And I wish I could have seen it on a big screen in a movie theater because some of it was so beautiful.
Oh, yeah, I know.
But it was still good on the screen in there. So, but Carey Mulligan stars as, I love this name, Edith Pretty.
Yeah, that's a real name. Now this is historically accurate.
Yes, it's based on a novel by John Preston.
Yes, and it's about the discovery. Well, let's say this: Henry VIII wanted to get in those mounds as well, and so nobody had been able to crack them.
Right.
She and her husband, that is Edith Petty and her husband,
Right.
had bought the property specifically because they wanted to explore the mounds.
Right. And he has passed away since.
Right.
But the estate has the name of, I love these names, Sutton Hoo.
Yep.
That is so cute.
Yeah, most people know it's like saying Tutankhamun.
That's
They
right.
know right away
Sutton
what you
Hoo.
mean. Sutton Hoo.
But of course she noticed that these mounds were on part of their property, and she had an idea maybe something important was under there.
I know. And so did Henry VIII. But somehow must have been protected because you would have think looters would have been on top of that
Oh, I know.
immediately.
I know,
But
yeah.
it was private property and apparently well protected.
Right. So she hires an amateur archaeologist played by Ralph Fiennes. His name is Basil
Excuse
Brown.
me. Let's do that again. Played by Rafe Fiennes. So say that again. It's Rafe Fiennes.
So she hires an amateur archaeologist played by Ralph Fiennes.
Right. I'm
And-
sorry, Rafe Fiennes.
Rafe, okay.
Say that again.
So she hires a amateur archaeologist by the name of, played by Ralph Fiennes.
Right.
His name is Basil Brown.
Oh boy, and what a terrific character. Fiennes really does it. Some will remember him from Schindler's List as
Yes.
the commandant. This is a completely different
Right.
role. And he calls himself an excavator, right? Rather than an archaeologist. He
Right.
won't, because he's very self-effacing. He's aware, as the film is aware, of the stratifications, professional stratifications, and the toffs who,
Right.
who own the Ipswich Museum and other places refuse even to recognize him as a legitimate archaeologist.
But he knew what he was doing because
Are
he
you
picked
kidding?
the specific mound that when they start digging, they discovered a wooden hull of a ship that had been the burial ship for a king. And this is before Viking times even, so.
Yeah, 6th and 7th century,
Right,
Dark Ages,
right.
Anglo-Saxon. Boy, this is old stuff.
Old stuff.
And if you go online, you can see some of the artifacts which the British Museum now
Right.
holds. She bequeathed it to the British Museum, and there's a
Right.
beautiful, well-known, iconic headpiece, warrior headpiece that comes right down by the nose and the ears,
Oh,
inlaid with jewels and so on. It's just a beautiful,
goodness.
beautiful piece, perfectly preserved.
oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'd love to see
So
that.
but you remember, and then what I like about this film is the interaction between Basil and Edith. And remember, she's the one who had the instinct
Right.
that the larger mound held. And
Okay.
he was certain it was the smaller one.
Ah.
You know, and then he
Okay.
starts in the
Okay.
smaller one, and he's not getting anything.
Nothing's there,
So he
just
kind of
water.
goes over to, okay, so you let's try this one. And boy, she had it.
Yes,
As
and
you
I
said.
love how he digs with his shirt and tie on. So English, so very, very English. But it's 1939, I believe, and the Second World War is looming. And so I think she needs to know that she needs to get in there and start digging now before the war breaks loose.
Yeah, Netflix loves these. It was the same with Guernsey and another one that, where it's centered right around even the coast and right around the emergence of the war
Right.
and the Germans. And that I like that element of it because it's accurate, it's true. Can you imagine trying to do something significant when you had those thugs waiting
Right.
to invade your country?
But when they're digging, the RAF bombers are flying over. Every once in a while you'll
Yes.
see a group of planes fly over. But the British Museum steps in and brings a crew of professional archaeologists.
Well, let's just say this, that it is the Ipswich Museum that is, eventually, yes, the British Museum
Okay.
does, and she bequeaths it to them. But there are other archaeologists, including that Ipswich, which is a neighboring area, would love to have it. Naturally, who wouldn't?
Right.
And they're hoping that she would bequeath it to them, but she doesn't. You're right. The British Museum is the monster. And if you wanted everybody to see it, you would put it in the British Museum.
Right.
Oh.
But at this point, when they bring all those people in to the site, for me, the film lost some of its focus. I wish that they had concentrated more on the dig and what they found there. I mean, you're telling me things that they found that they really did not show in the movie.
They really got by. They really got by not having to show or imitate any of them by just giving you a glance
Right.
at what they might be. And partly because it's the drama of the find. It's really what they're after. Not showing you something you can
Yeah.
see online when you see the artifacts, but just.
I wanted to see more
Of course you
of
did,
the
and I
dig.
did too.
Instead, it concentrates on the concerns of the people that are involved in there. There's a young woman archaeologist that is having marital problems,
Yeah.
and I just would like it to have been more about the excavation, how they did it and what they found. I mean, I saw a few earrings or something that they brought out of the ground. But
Yeah, right.
Not much more than
No,
that.
yeah, and I question too these kind of subplots, particularly hers, where her husband is really gay.
Yes.
And she has to, but she's falling for Johnny Flynn.
Right, the character who's
Yeah,
very appealing.
yeah, very, yeah, nice young guy who was signed up for the RAF,
Right,
unfortunately.
he's waiting to be called up.
Oh, yeah. But anyway, there's so much time taken with it. I wanted more between her and Brown.
I thought at some point that they might begin a romance of some type.
I think you're right, and I think there's a very veiled suggestion, at least on her part, because he's married and he's
Right.
a straight guy, and there is a good connection between
They're
the two.
very
of them.
like-minded.
Yes, and at one point I think she's getting ready for him to come to dinner or something, and
Yeah.
he doesn't.
And she has an adorable young boy who
Mhm.
kind of takes a shine
Oh, yes.
to Basil. And that, I thought, well, this might lead to something else, but it did not.
No, but it was, one of the things that I liked too, and this is a subplot that I liked very much with the young man, the young boy, because he represented to me the hope of the future,
Right,
the link between the past and the present.
yeah.
And as they look through Basil's telescope into the cosmos,
Uh-huh.
it kind of puts things into perspective.
Right, exactly. Yes, it's very philosophical, I think, because they are talking about themes of connecting with the past while creating history of our own,
Uh-huh.
and then looking to might be very, and it was, uncertain future.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. So you've got a lot of strands going on, some of them very good, some of them a little bit distracting.
Right.
I think both you and I wanted more. I wanted more about the discovery.
Yes, I did too, for sure.
And I even would have taken more of that conflict between the professional archaeologist
Right,
and the excavator.
the excavator,
Yeah.
right.
But the good thing is the professional archaeologist suddenly realized who Basil was, meaning that he had outstripped any of them.
Right.
They were doing their little Roman village and their Viking stuff. Nothing could compare
Right, this was
with the impact of Sutton Hoo.
very, very important, very important.
Well, Linda Baas McClelland,
Yes, sir.
we have just touched the surface of this Netflix presentation called The Dig.
The Dig.
And it stars Carey Mulligan, whom some of our audience may have seen recently in The Promising Young Woman.
Right.
In a completely different role.
Completely different.
Interesting, of course, that they initially wanted Nicole Kidman
Yeah,
for her part.
yeah.
That's okay. But Carey Mulligan has it presents a drawn-out, aging woman who's going to die
Right, she has a
prematurely.
terrible heart condition.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
she becomes more frail as the movie goes on.
Yes. So Linda Baas McClelland, the movie is The Dig. What grade do you give it?
Because I found it so bland in parts, I give it a C.
Oh, I'm going to award it a B because I still found it exciting. And as much as I complain about I didn't have the things I wanted to see, they do a whip-bang job with history, and I'm a sucker. And if it's Brit, I'm even more of a
More
sucker.
of a sucker, definitely. There was a moment when a young character, she wonders, if 1,000 years were to pass in an instant, what would be left of us? Which I thought was very interesting.
Yes, that's whole cosmological perspective. Thank you, Lenny.
You're welcome, John.